me is Mr. Chris Decker. Chris, I welcomed you already, but I want to welcome you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been 2 weeks and it feels like I've been away for so long.
Yeah, we really missed you, Adele.
And I miss you all, and I miss everybody
That's
too.
right,
Yeah, so it's good to be back. It's actually good to be back.
That's right.
And so, as I introduced earlier, we will be talking about sexual rejection. And the impact it has on relationship. So for starters, Chris, what is, or what involves sexual rejection?
Okay. I would want to define sexual rejection as the situation where a partner refuses to give sexual intimacy to the other. So more often than not, you realize that one person would see it as a rejection, but the other person wouldn't necessarily find that as a rejection. Now, the reason why one person will find that as a rejection is that whoever is at the end where he or she is the one asking for the sex and is being denied access to that sex is the one who's going to find that as a rejection.
Because, of course, they are at the end, the receiving end of it. And therefore, they feel like they are the victim, right?
Exactly. So you realize that in some relationships, somebody would say, but we had sex yesterday and you're asking again, you're asking for another sex today, but I don't want to. And most people in their abnormal sense will think, hang on, if we had it yesterday and you're asking for today and I can't give it, why should you call that a rejection? But whoever is at that end, whoever is feeling like he's a victim, will be the one who would actually define that rejection.
So does that mean that the person who is normally saying no, no, no,
exactly,
does not actually realize that they are rejecting their partner?
No. That is the bottom line. When you say no, I'm not in the mood, no, I've got headache, no, I'm too tired to do this, no. Whoever the no is going out to, that person is the one who's going to feel rejected.
So at what point do we say that rejection is happening? Because I believe that in every relationship and in, there will be a day where you'll be like, nah,
no,
not tonight,
Okay.
So at what point does it actually, translate as rejection?
Yeah, you see, Adjoa, there are times where there are people who stay months without having sex.
Yes.
Some say years without having sex. And when the other half says no, they feel rejected. There are some too who cannot stay a day or two without sex. And so when the spouse says no, they still also feel rejected. So whoever is at the other end of the no is the person who has that final feeling of feeling either going to feel rejected or not. So it's not so much cast in stone, because there are people who would understand. And when you say, I'm sorry, honey, today I feel so tired, work has been so tedious, I had so much to do. And when you say no to them, they feel, okay, that's not a problem. Maybe we can do this tomorrow or some other time, and they would be okay. But there are others too, when you say that, even if you've had sex with them that morning and you're saying no in the evening, they could still feel rejected.
Wow. But then that rejection, that 1 day rejection, is that something to really pay attention to just because you've been rejected once?
No, it depends. There are people who are very emotional people.
Yeah.
There are people who are very sensitive. And people are different.
Yeah.
Not everybody takes no lightly. There are people who wouldn't want no for an answer. And so if you are with such a person, then you are in for trouble. Because to be very honest with you, you cannot please your spouse 100%.
Yeah.
It would take a supernatural human person to please their spouse or their partner 100%. Because there are days that, honestly speaking, you are not in the mood. It doesn't matter the gender.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think it's only women who would always say no. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
There are times that a man would have more things on their shoulders. They would have things, they would have issues dealing with psychologically, or they could even have been upset with you, the woman, and you come to them and they will say no. And so there's so much. And for me, I don't think that averagely, if you have a regular sex life,
yes,
on a daily you have sex, there are people who, like I said, they can stay months,
yeah,
and it's never happened. They don't have an issue. There are people who cannot go 2 days without it. So this is where it's like they're so used to you giving it to them on a very regular daily basis, and so that one day when you say no, hell will break loose. Because they are so used to coming to you. Apart from the fact that you are in your menses, they don't expect you to say no.
And some people even go for it when you are in your menses.
Once they are up high, there are people who have that high sexual libidos, high sexual drives. And so when you say no to them, it's like, why you say no? And sometimes some spouses or partners even tend to think, are you cheating on me? Have you been with somebody else? Why is it? But come on. It shouldn't be like that all the time. There are times that genuinely the person doesn't want to. And so I think sometimes people need to understand these things. That the fact that you are in the mood doesn't mean that automatically your partner has to be in the mood. And so sometimes you realize that people get into these things and it becomes like a prison.
Yes.
Then they begin to they don't really enjoy it, but they endure sex. Which shouldn't be the case.
Because they're only doing it
to please
their husband.
They're doing it because they know the consequences that would follow when they say no.
Yeah. And that's not very good.
Not at all.
What's the point in having sex or intimacy when you don't enjoy it?
Not at all.
I think that point, it's what we say, dutiful sex.
That's right.
But then sometimes it's so painful that it almost becomes like you're being raped.
Yeah.
Because you're so not into it. So you're not even getting wet. So you're not even getting into the groove of it. And
then you find people lying back like piece of logs and they wouldn't
do anything. And then you get some husband saying that it's okay if you're tired, just lie down, I'll just do it. Anyway, let's take just this quick ad break. We'll be back in a jiffy. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned.
This is ABN Radio.
It's really my type of music.
We play your genre of music, from contemporary gospel, high life, hip life, Afropop and Afrobeats.
Play loads of music
on London's premier Afropolitan station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred, it's about staying alive. Drop that knife, save your life.
It was a well-paying job, respectable, wearing a suit and tie every day. But I drank 24/7. Drank on the way to work, drank at work.
I never could come to terms with admitting that I had an alcohol problem or a pill problem.
I decided to get clean, and so I went to the Narconon program.
Not only did I handle my drug addiction, I completely knew how to live life.
Call Narconon today at 01435 512 460. 01435 512 460.
We are online, DAB, and
the ABN Radio app.
Welcome back to the Bear Talk Show with me, Adjoa Arma Apia. We are live on ABN Radio here discussing sexual rejection and the impact it has on relationship. Please give me a call on 0208 670 7300, 0208 670 You could also send us WhatsApp messages or call on WhatsApp on 0788 7475 940, 0788 7475 940. And yes, I've got the one and only Chris Decker in this hot seat with me, discussing this subject. And as we were saying earlier on, that it is a subject, it is a topic, or it is something that a lot of people go through at some point during their marriage life or their, relationship life. But then at what point does it become a problem? And Chris, just before we went off, you were talking about how some people can stay months without having sex. And you did say it might not be an issue. But don't you think some of them, it could be an issue? They're probably staying in months because when they try or when they initiate sex, their partner puts them off. And therefore, they've gotten to the point where they just can't be bothered. So they just stay months and months and months without having.
I think that ultimately, when people get together and they stay together for long, complacency does set in.
Yes.
People become complacent. And when that happens, people also tend not to put in much effort. Now, when it comes to sex, if couples become so used to the boredom of the bedroom, it kind of, in a sense, begins to drift them apart.
Yeah.
So if you're not spicing up your sexual life, the intimacy you share with your spouse, what happens is that after a while, it's like you almost know what is going to happen. I have my spiritual mother calls it the one bum thank you mom.
That is a cool one.
Right, the one bum thank you mom. So you come and then one bum and then thank you and then so it's
done.
like there's no foreplay. They just come, take off your panty. They are straight to business. Within seconds they are done and they roll over and they are snoring. So when that happens, you realize that one party is not satisfied. And sometimes, like I always say, for a man, it doesn't take much to satisfy or to please a man.
Yeah.
So sometimes you find out that the women are not satisfied. And so then what happens? She begins to look at sex in a different manner. She begins to feel that, come on, this guy, we've been together for donkeys, 27 years, 20 years, 15 years. It's the same old boring thing he does, nothing new. He doesn't even put my feelings and my side into consideration.
Yeah.
All he does is tries to please himself. And so then maybe sometimes you realize that for a year, for 2 years, for longer than that, the woman has never orgasmed.
That is so true.
Yeah. So then, what's the point?
Yeah.
So when you come to ask me for sex, it's like, come on, I know what you're going to do.
It's almost like you're using me as a trash can.
Exactly.
Or, you just want to empty yourself somewhere.
Yeah. So same old. It's like I can so predict the beginning
to the end.
And sometimes, more often than not, you would not prove your spouse wrong. So what happens? You come and then she tells you, I'm tired, I've got a headache, I've got this, I've got that.
Yeah.
And you wonder why. Because you were going to go down the same old boring memory lane. and she's so sick and tired of it.
Why do some people think that sex always has to be in the bed?
That's one thing. I don't know. For some reason, a lot of people think,
because a lot of people, that's what they do. It's like it's just always in the bedroom, and it's not even just in the bedroom. It's in the bed.
Yeah, with the lights turned off.
Yeah,
and the same position.
You know,
the same old orthodox. Lie down, let me lie on top of you. You know, the same old. And you see, the thing is, some people, some school of thought thinks that these things happen a lot in marriages, but when people are dating and they're having sex, it's a different ballgame.
Yes. Why is that though?
Is it that something that I don't?
Yeah. Is it just because they're dating and they're in that honeymoon period?
No, that's not the honeymoon period. I tend to call that stage the advertisement stage.
Okay.
That is when
you want to show what you can do. I want to
show what I want to marry you, so I'm trying to be of my best. You know, show you what I'm made of. Show you that, oh, listen, if you settle down with me, you're in for a ride. Yeah. You're going to have a good time with me. But as soon as people eat the wedding cake, that's it. Everything changes.
So Lassie will say that's when life happens.
That's right.
You know, and then everything starts, going pear-shaped. Yeah. You know, but having said that, some people also have, that maybe happy ever after kind of, relationship. So, but then when you look at, the ratings and the numbers, you realize that a lot of people are actually going through this period where they feel either rejection, sexual rejection, or other forms of rejection. Or boredom in the relationship.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. People become complacent. It's complacency.
Because recently I was talking to quite a few people, and it was as if they had all had a meeting or something, because we're all singing the same kind of song. You know, and it's like, oh, I am so fed up. My relationship is so boring these days. My husband is doing this, and he can't be bothered, and the way he deals with me or talks to me. And all of those things.
You see, Ajua, sometimes some spouses also make the mistake of not listening to the other half.
Okay, how do you mean?
Because sometimes some people are such that when they get bored and they want things to change, they talk about it.
Yes.
And they expect that we begin to make changes. We begin to make adjustments. We begin to do things differently.
Yeah.
So that it could bring some spice into the relationship and see to it that this whole boredom, one bam, thank you, mom thing could be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes you find out that even though they are talking about these things, the other house might be listening, but they are not hearing. So very little is done about it. And it drags on and on and on and on. So sometimes it doesn't end at sexual rejection. But what you find out is that the other person who's been asking for changes would now resort to other things. And that will include moving out of that relationship and beginning to see somebody else.
So that is where it's very dangerous. That's right. Because
sometimes you get people talking to you and sharing some fun stuff, saying all kinds of things that they can do or they've learned, and then you'll be wondering, okay, what have I been missing out? So when people begin to do, and then they begin to seduce your mind and begin to talk to you in a certain manner, and people.
I mean, ideally, it would be nice if people, or if someone is seducing your mind and stuff like that. It would be nice if you could actually take that seduction onto your better half.
That's what I'm saying. Some people actually do.
Yeah.
They might not come and say it in a very blunt manner that, oh, this person said this, and because as soon as they say, why is he saying that to you?
Yeah.
Why are you having dirty conversations with somebody other than me?
Okay, so you're not discussing it, but at least use that information.
That's why they can say it in a very subtle way, in a very different manner. But ultimately, if the other party is not listening, is listening but not hearing, and not doing anything about it, that's where it becomes
difficult, isn't it?
So then you find out that, okay, I've come to you, I've said this, but you're still doing the same old reggae dance. And this person is actually promising me funky dance and saying, listen, I could give you some hip-hop moves, and I could do this, and I could do... And you find out that sometimes there are things that people like.
Yeah.
So this person even wants you to...
Okay, there's a call coming through. Can I pick that up?
Yeah, sure. Let's get it.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to the bedtalk show. You are live on ABN Radio. So who am I talking to?
Hi, this is Kofi from East London.
Hey, Kofi, how are you doing? Thank you so much for calling. I'm good, thank you.
I'm enjoying the show so much.
Amazing.
There's nothing better than watching football and then after football bedtime.
Oh, bless you. That is so lovely to hear. What have you got for us?
It's a great topic, and yourself and Chris have made some absolutely vital points. Vital points. And my thinking was, there's also this angle of athletes from people that I have spoken to, the personal hygiene bits, which I'm sure you guys touched on some weeks ago.
Yeah.
How that also contributed towards sexual rejection by partners. And it's really going on. It's a big issue. It's a really big issue.
Kofi, you're breaking up a bit.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, you're better.
Yes, and I'm saying the personal hygiene bit is also a big issue.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point that you raised there, Kofi, but I am thinking that if your spouse have a hygiene issue, aren't you the right person to sit the person down and say, you know what, I think that you're suffering from, let's say, bad breath. What can we do about it?
You'll be surprised that people just are lazy, don't want to change, don't want to even... Some people even get offended or angry because you raise it kind of with a good intention.
Yeah.
And it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem.
Wow.
Both on the men's side and on the female side as well.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, you would be surprised that people would ditch relationships because of those things. So it's seriously, and I think because the way the world now is, I mean, you can see online people tidying up, people kind of keeping themselves very fresh, looking pretty and looking beautiful, both on the male side and the female side. People want their partners and spouses to also tidy up a bit. And it's a huge... I mean, you can't even begin to think about how huge this problem is just on the personal hygiene level. I mean, not to talk about the home kind of being in a mess and just lying here and things lying there, and it's a huge thing. And sometimes the person can't even psychologically work themselves into wanting to be around you because of that kind of stuff. And it is a huge thing, and I'm very happy that you guys touched on this some weeks ago, because it is absolutely huge. It's massive. It's absolutely massive.
Wow. I think, Chris, I think we should find a doctor and talk about personal hygiene and body confidence. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good.
Because you know, I mean, I talk about it sometimes because, like I always say, that as much as the man wants to see we women in like pretty lingerie and what have you, I think we women want to see our men like that as well. But I think that a lot of men take that for granted, don't they, Kofi? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think both men and women have to, like they say, up their game these days.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it doesn't take much. It's just, I mean, just the basics, like you're saying, just the breath, or just having a bath, it's just the basics, which doesn't cost.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost millions. It doesn't cost money. No one's saying you should be buying some Calvin Klein or Gucci.
No.
It's just the basic hygiene.
At least shower. I mean,
it's amazing. I mean, it's just, and it's both on the men's side and on the women's side. It's a big issue.
I think we need to talk about hygiene on a whole, like on a broad.
Absolutely. Yeah. Both the personal hygiene and then in the home. I mean, just the way. I mean, when you go to certain places, you'll be amazed that people kind of are leaving their homes in such a state.
Yeah.
It turns both females and males off. It's just. It's big.
Not good.
It's really big, yeah. So it's not. Sometimes it's not because the person doesn't like you, or the person doesn't, and that's even the most frustrating thing, because the person can see that this chap or this lady can really up their game if they just do a few basics right. But the person sometimes can't be bothered, isn't seeing what you're seeing, and so when it comes to the time for the sexual part, the person can also kind of, it's a big thing. I mean, it's big. It's nothing. But I'm enjoying the show, so
thank you
I'll let
so
you guys
much.
touch on it a bit, and then I'll call back later.
All right, we'll be waiting for your call again.
We're really enjoying your program.
Thank you so much. Okay, see you soon. Bye for now.
Yeah,
Chris, I think that is a big thing, isn't it?
Is it what Kofi is saying is so true.
Yeah.
There are people who have this issue. Now I know of a couple. The lady always says to this guy, when you come back from work, all I need you to do is just have a shower.
Yes.
And you could have it.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, sometimes this guy actually doesn't want to shower.
The thing is, you've come back from work. Yeah. You're a bit sweaty, especially if you've gone all day.
And I think the kind of job he does as well. So
if it's manual handling,
it's not even manual handling, but the environment.
That he works in.
Yeah. So she would say to him, all I expect you to do is have a shower before you jump into the bed. But sometimes he doesn't. And then in the middle of the night, he will try to touch.
No.
And then she'll say, no, I have said to you, you can shower. If you shower, then we're cool.
Wow. So I think we need to know what our partners and spouses want. And the thing is, if your partner is telling you that please do this for me,
I think you should ultimately, unless you don't, I don't see why you wouldn't do this for her, but then you want to touch.
Yeah.
Because she's actually giving you a prerequisite. I mean, this is not difficult, Adwa. Just take a shower.
It is not.
It's for your own benefit as well. Looking at it.
Yeah.
It is for your own good. You've been to work, the environment you work in, sometimes there's a possibility that you could come home with some germs.
The thing is, even the train that you'll sit on, because you don't know.
You meet all kinds of people.
That's the thing, and it's one thing. It's one thing that I am very funny about, especially like when you come home from work.
Yeah.
If you're downstairs, that's fine, but what I can't take is coming to sit on my bed with the clothes that you've sat on the train with. It kills me. I will literally take the bed sheet off that very moment, because on the train, you don't know who sat on that seat before you sat on. It's not your car, so you can't say that you are the only one who sat in.
That's right.
But on the train, some people put their dogs on the seat.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Next minute, you went and you sat on that same seat, and you come home.
And you don't want
and you come and sit on the bed
instead of you taking off your clothes.
Exactly. Even if you in shower, at least take off your clothes and wear something else before you sit on that bed. Yeah. So for me, that thing kills me. And I'm not OCD.
Your OCD is quite strong.
I know.
And another thing is also, I mean, I've said one for the men, or for the women. I'm going to say one for the men.
Okay.
There are women who also would like it when you go down on them.
Yes.
But then how do you expect your man to go down on you on a very regular basis when you open your legs and the odor coming from down below? it's not good. So when you do that, and next time you ask, and I've heard some men actually say that their partners, until you go down on them, they would not let you have sex with them. So
yes, hold on though. I mean, we'll come back and discuss that. We're going to take a quick break, but I'm interested in that particular subject, because I think I've got a bit to say on that. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
This is ABN Radio.
It's really my type of music.
We play your genre of music, from contemporary gospel, high life, hip life, Afropop, and Afrobeats.
Play loads of music
on London's premier Afropolitan station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred, it's about staying alive. Drop that knife, save your life.
It was a well-paying job, respectable, wearing a suit and tie every day. But I drank 24/7. Drank on the way to work, drank at work.
I never could come to terms with admitting that I had an alcohol problem or a pill problem.
I decided to get clean, and so I went to the Narconon program.
Not only did I handle my drug addiction, I completely knew how to live life.
Call Narconon today at 01435 512 460. 01435 512 460.
We are online, DAB, and the ABN Radio app.
Welcome back to the bedtalk show with me, Ajua. We are live on ABN Radio. You can catch us on the DAB app, TuneIn app, online, Modern Ghana, and we are streaming live on YouTube too. So all you need to do is put ABN Radio UK on the search button. You could also call us on 0208 6707300, 0208 6707300. You could send WhatsApp messages on 07887475 And so, Kofi, thank you so once again for that insightful contribution. I think that it's a big thing. So, Chris, you were saying about how some women want their men to go down.
Some women want they all go down on me before you can have sex with me.
Yeah.
But then I was saying, as in relating to Kofi's submission, there are women who also don't keep themselves well. And in that case, if the man refuses to go down on you, does that mean you're going to say no to him as well? So then that also can contribute to sexual rejection. Because, like I said to you, I've heard some men say that some of their partners, until you go down on them, it's a no-no.
Right.
So if you don't go down on her, then she won't allow you to have sex with her.
So then I think that in that case, if they don't smell that great because, they've been working or they've been, it's been a while before they had a shower, then tell them to have a shower.
Yeah, but...
Or sometimes, maybe this is how you can work it. Take them into the shower. Actually, my sex tip tonight is about that. So you can take them to, into the shower, and then you can have your shower together. And then from there, work your way up to the bedroom and do what she requires or she wants you to do.
Is she ready to do that?
Well, she's got to be.
There are some dirty women out there.
Wow.
Not every woman is as clean as you think. There are women who would not want to shower. They come back from work. They'll say, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to shower. All I want to do is I want to lie down." And as a woman, if you're not keeping yourself, and they take off your knickers and the stench that comes, nobody would want to go down on you.
That's the thing.
So then, or sometimes not even about going down. Some people would not even want to, even if you are offering it for free without the person going down on you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, some people. So when you try to approach and he says no, you feel rejected.
Wow.
But then again, it's also because you are exactly, and it's also because you are not keeping yourself well. You're not freshening up. You don't smell good, and it's a turn off.
It is.
It's a turn off. I mean, even in the case of women, you can you can pretend and lie down even if you're not wet if you want to satisfy the person. But when a man is turned off, there's no erection.
Yeah.
If there's no erection, there will be no penetration. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Wow. Next week, we will be talking about how men want it in bed. And so I think we'll have to go into all those things, what gives men erection and stuff like that. I'm actually looking forward to that conversation next week. But for now, without digressing, talking about sexual rejection and the impact that it has on relationships. Now, Chris, what are some of the emotions that an individual may be going through when they feel that they're sexually rejected by the union that they're in?
Yeah, sometimes things happen. Life, there's so much happening in our times. So all kinds of things could be going on. Some could be work-related, family life, personal problems. And when that happens, sometimes the last thing on your mind will be sex. So when the spouse or the other half comes to ask for, it's very natural that at that time you don't really want to give the sex because this is not a good time. I'm tired, I've got this on my plate, I'm not well. But then again, you find out that the person at the receiving end also begins to feel rejected. They begin to feel unloved. Like I said, sometimes people even go to the extent of thinking that their spouse is cheating on them. Whereas sometimes it's not so much the case because there could be underlying issues.
Exactly.
There could be the fact that the person hasn't told you about them doesn't mean that there aren't issues.
But I think this is where I think communication comes in, because if you haven't told me about what you're going through, about the situation that you're in, how am I meant to know? Because for me, all I see is you fobbing me off every time I come close to you and stuff like that. And I think that it's very difficult when one starts to feel undesired. You feel like, oh, my partner or my spouse don't desire me as he should.
That's right.
And I think sometimes it's painful.
It is. It can be very painful, especially in the situation where you don't even ask for it on a very regular daily basis. There are some men who they want it every day of the week, apart from when you are in your reds. Even some men want it, even when, like you did say, it's like they want it all the time. And for me, if somebody is getting it all the time, every day, and once in a while you say no to them, I don't think they should feel so much rejected.
No.
But then
I think once in a while should not make you feel too rejected.
No.
For me, I think when it happens all the time, so like today she had a headache. Tomorrow it's the toothache now. Now, oh, I feel too tired. Oh, now I'm not in the mood. And then it gets to a point where, because they know that you are going to ask them or you're going to approach them somehow, they start sleeping in the couch downstairs until you're completely fast asleep, or in the pretense of, I am denying the little girl or the little boy, or, making sure that he or she sleeps or what have you. And then you use it as an excuse. You sleep in the bed with them, so you're not in your bed. And it's all those little excuses that starts building up.
That's right. But Ajua, there are also couples where the other half doesn't even ask for it all the time. Like I said, maybe once in a month, twice in a month, once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks, and still sometimes they get the odd no. And in that sense, they also feel rejected. They feel that what's going on, what's happening, why are you? And when that happens, the person who has been who feels rejected, sometimes if it's a woman, you see that a woman begins to lose their self-confidence.
Wow. Okay, there is a call coming through, so I'm going to take it quickly before we go on take the news on top of the hour. Hi, good evening. Welcome to the bedtalk show. Who am I talking to?
Hello, you're speaking to Amma.
Hey, Amma, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. What have you got for us?
Thank you very much for the topic. It's really interesting, and it's something that I think that we all should talk about. Now, basically, what I wanted to say was that as a young woman growing up, our parents don't often talk about intimacy with us.
Yes.
And then when you go into marriage, you're expected to find all these things out by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, my mother didn't talk to me about intimacy, so I went and read books.
Yeah.
And talked to friends and people that have been married, and asked them how it goes in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I got lots of information, which I now use in my relationships.
That's amazing.
Many subjects such as asking your partner to have a shower before they come and sit on the bed or come into the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I had the same problem where my partner would come home and not have a shower. And I kindly said, you know what, please have a shower before you come into the bed, because this is how I feel. All the germs from everybody in our bedroom is not what I would like.
Exactly.
But his thing was that, but if I have a shower, I won't be able to sleep.
Yeah.
That means I'm awake.
Ah.
So we came up with a solution, because all of these problems are there, and in a relationship, you're supposed to come together, come with some kind of medium
exactly.
that will help you to get along. So the solution was, okay, when you come in, just wash your face, wash your hands, wash your armpits, wash your important bits, not the water all over you, and then change your clothes and come to bed.
Wow.
So that was the solution for one of those things. Now, with regards to odor, again, everybody is different.
Yes.
And everybody's sensitive. And it's all about being open-minded. Warn him in advance and say, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
So don't come near me. And then, when I'm good and ready, I will go and have a shower. Obviously not in 2 days.
Yeah.
I will go and have a shower. But it's all about, at the end of the day, communicating.
Yes.
Communicating about sex and intimacy. And if you are bored, of what your partner is, I think one of you said you need to tell them. And if they are not listening, keep telling them and keep being as blunt as possible. Because what I find in the Ghanaian community is that our communication, in my opinion, is that there's a lot of, proverbs and going around in circles when we talk about these things. But the only way to get somebody to know how you feel is that you tell them.
You tell them. You're right. You're right.
So, my partner in the beginning was like, oh my goodness, who is this woman? She's telling me these things.
I bet he got used to you in the end.
He is used to me, and I'm used to him.
Okay.
So,
Amma, can I just pause you for a minute? Don't go. I'm going to take news on top of the hour and we'll be right back.
Okay.
From the Sky News Centre at 10. The Labour leader has joined calls for Donald Trump's visit to the UK to be delayed. Jeremy Corbyn says he's utterly shocked by recent images of child migrants being detained in cages. The President's coming to the UK on the 13th of July for meetings with the Prime Minister and tea with the Queen. Mr Corbyn thinks the invitation should be taken back.
I didn't invite him, I wouldn't have invited him, and I think the Prime Minister's got ample reasons to withhold the invitation if she wants to. But we need to say very clearly to Donald Trump, we live in a multicultural society. We're proud of it. Get over it and start living in one yourself.
Meanwhile, Mr Trump's reiterated his promise to secure America's borders and protect citizens from crime committed by illegal immigrants. In other news, a sexual assault charge against former television presenter John Leslie has been found not proven by a court in Edinburgh. The 53-year-old had denied the accusations. Creditors have approved a rescue deal for House of Fraser. The company can now press ahead with its plan to close 31 shops with a loss of up to 6,000 jobs. Wiltshire's Chief Constable has revealed the policeman who ended up in hospital after the Skripal incident in Salisbury still hasn't been able to return to work. Detective Sergeant Nick Bailey was one of the first on the scene. Keir Pritchard says he's giving all his support.
We're working really closely with Nick. He hasn't returned back to work yet. I keep in regular contact with Nick and his wife and the family. They're doing really well. I think if any of us imagine what it must be like to have walked in their shoes over these last 3 months, think of the impact on a family.
The Chief Constable was speaking as Prince Charles and Camilla visited the city to try to boost business. And in sport, Xherdan Shaqiri's late goal kept Switzerland on course for a place in the last 16 of the World Cup in Russia. The Stoke winger helped them beat Serbia 2-1. Brazil topped their group after grabbing a couple of injury time goals in their 2-0 win against Costa Rica. That's the latest. I'm Charlie Max.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realised. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Mixpiration with Bright every Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. is just fun. It's exciting. It's a mix of contemporary R&B and pop gospel music right here on ABN Radio. Enjoy great tunes every Sunday evening with Bright on Mixpiration, a blend of great inspiring songs just for your Sunday evening relaxation. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. They're on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Hi, this is Rodney Hines. And I'm Michael. Join us on the Voice of Sports show each and every Saturday on ABN Radio. We'll keep you bang up to date with all the latest football scores and we'll discuss all the big talking points in the world of sport. So don't forget, join us this Saturday, 4 till 6 on ABN Radio UK.
No one plays it better on the radio than us. ABN Radio, home of Afrobeats.
Hey, welcome back to the bedtalk show. We are live on ABN Radio, London's premier Afropolitan station. And yes, Amma, please, could you give us a call back? Thank you so much. And so, Chris, talking about the motions that we go through, and I think we've had some interesting, good contributions, haven't we?
We certainly have, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So we'll be waiting for Amma's call. That's right. Again.
She did make some very good points.
Yeah.
I mean, people go through all kinds of rejections, and sometimes some people take it very seriously. Mm-hmm. So much so that sometimes it does have effects on the relationship. Like I was saying before we went on the break, that
okay, the call is coming through. I'm sure it, and I will take it then. Hi, good evening. Who am I talking to? You're live on the bedtalk show. Hi, Emma. Thank you so much for calling back. Yes, as you were saying.
I said a lot of things. I mean, my main thing is that, sex is... People shouldn't take sex too seriously either. It's a serious business, but you shouldn't take it too seriously. You should have fun with it. And I think that as a woman, if I find that, and which I have found, and I'm speaking from experience, that if my partner is not satisfying me the way that I would like to be satisfied, I help him and I teach him and I have taught him. And he's getting better every day. So, it's a two-way thing. I mean, I don't know what you think about that. I don't know if I'm being too explicit.
No, you're just fine. We need that.
And it's not all the time that also, sometimes you, the woman, has to also help yourself. Because when you're doing stuff to yourself during the intimacy or the intercourse, that also encourages the man to want to do more, to help you.
Yeah.
Because it's also a turn on for them to see that you're turned on. But if they haven't had the experience of actually learning about sex, reading books, and maybe exploring with sex toys or whatever, then, and if you don't teach them, or if you don't know about it yourself, then there's only one way to go, which is out of the marriage or out of the relationship. But you have to make an effort and put an effort into it in order to get the best out of it.
Wow, I think that's an interesting conversation. Thank you so much, Amma. Please do feel free to give us a call again.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good evening.
And you do the same. Thank you. Bye for now. So that was Amma, and I think very good points actually raised there. So, Chris.
Yeah, I think I like Amma's contribution, and I want to touch that a little bit on hers before we go on. Ultimately, in our community, as I've always said, we give very little feedbacks. For some reason, for what reasons I don't know. But apart from that, I can tell that Amma is the sort of lady who is quite interesting, if I should say. And you know, these days there are a lot of women who want to stay back until the other half makes the move. They would never initiate any move. I don't know whether it's a black thing.
Yeah, kind of. A lot of women like to just wait.
Why should you? We
shouldn't.
No, for me, if you are, especially if you're married and you're with your husband and you want it.
Yeah.
What prevents you from initiating it? And also, you can, as you were saying, do fun stuff that will actually get the man turned on. You know, do things to yourself and be creative, because if you've been married for years, it can be very boring.
Yeah.
And it is this boringness or boredom that I've been talking about in our earlier discussion.
Yeah.
And this is what actually draws people apart so much that they begin to reject each other. You know, so fun stuff can really help. I mean, next week when we come to talk about
what men want in bed,
maybe we'll look more into these things. But for now, let us stay focused.
Okay, so that's it. On the right path. Yeah. So if you have only just tuned in, we are talking about sexual rejection and the impact that it has on relationships. Okay, and we're saying that a lot of people go through these things. You know, and feel rejected one way or the other along, you know, the path of relationships and marriage. They say that it's a long journey, and as you're making that journey, you kind of hit some hurdles and peaks and troughs and all of that. So this is part of it. But when it becomes constant and it becomes a problem, how do you deal with sexual rejection? When your partner keeps saying that I've got this headache like every day of the week, how do you deal with that? You know, so what do you do when you feel rejected by your spouse most of the time? Do you confront the situation or do you just leave it? You know, or are there any signs that shows that your partner feels rejected?
Yeah, I think that sex itself can be a form of communication.
Okay.
In a sense that people use sex to communicate either positively or negatively. Now, when a couple are in sync and are so much in love, you realize that when they make love, making love and having sex are two different things.
Yes.
They're two different things. So they can have sex and then they call it love making. Because at that stage, everything is fine. You are happy with each other. You are in love. And you know, so then that intimacy can actually communicate to you that, oh, I'm so happy with you. And in the same manner, if the other half, if one person is not happy and you try to get intimate, then you might not get to that love making stage. It will be just the sex stage where it will be all very dry, not as you would wish or want it to be. And more often than not, we find out that one party might feel dissatisfied because they might not get to that point that they are expecting to get to. Sex is such that you are pleasing each other, you are enjoying the moment, you are getting intimate. So it has to be done not dutifully but beautifully.
Oh wow, I love that. Not dutifully but beautifully. Amazing.
So you should both enjoy it, not one person enduring it. Then you can actually have that satisfaction. So if one party is not happy, sometimes you get that thing where one person would kind of feel that rejection. Now, talking about what you can do in order to sort this whole thing out, I think that you need to talk about it. Like I said, for a partner to be constantly rejecting the other half sexual moves, then there could be underlying factors. So you need to find out what is actually going on. Is it that, and for the woman, sometimes they are not happy with you because you did not wash the dishes. There are things that they wanted you to do that you haven't done.
But they can wash the dishes if I haven't washed it.
You promised to buy a dress and you haven't bought that dress, and you want to come and touch me. Women can be quite funny like that. There are things that they've been expecting and they've been asking, and you are not. So the next thing they want to do is they would say no to you because when I said you should do this, you didn't. So
you didn't do it.
And they will not come directly to say, when I said this, you didn't. But they'll say, oh, I've got a headache. Oh, I'm tired. So sometimes you need to first and foremost find out what is actually happening. What is going on? There are times that it could be the fact that somebody is not happy with you for one reason or the other. And there are also times that it could be that the person is actually bored, sick and tired of the same old thing.
Over and over again.
So this is where you need to communicate.
I was talking to someone about this conversation, and the person was also saying that, that sometimes it might be some of the mean utterances that your spouse may have made. And that they make you feel so undesired that when they are coming near you, you're thinking, you're the one that said this and this and that. So why are you even trying to touch me? And I think it makes you shut down emotionally towards them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, words are very, very powerful, and they are irreversible. And that's what a lot of spouses tend to forget. When you say something about somebody, it is something that you can never take back, because you can apologize and say, I didn't mean it, but at the back of their minds, they might be thinking, well, if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't have said it.
That's the thing.
And so people,
because they say out of the abundance of the mouth or the heart,
the mouth will speak. So words can be very, very powerful. And so when you say certain things about your spouse or your partner, and then now you want to go and touch, it becomes very difficult. So because they'll be thinking, is this not the same person who's been saying this and that about me, that I'm this, I'm that, and so why is he now trying to kiss me? Why is he now trying? Is he pretending? But also, what people at that receiving end also should understand is that sometimes in the heat of the moment, when people are upset, they can say all kinds of things. Not necessarily the fact that they mean what they said, but because they were also hurt or upset. I'm not trying to justify, but it does happen sometimes. So that can also call for people to reject their other halves sexually.
Wow. So, you know what? If you're saying mean things to your partner, you've got to be very careful about it because, like Chris said, words are very powerful. And once you've said them, you cannot take it back. And sometimes you might make an attempt of saying sorry or apologizing, but the cut
might be too deep. It might be too deep. There are people who do not take words lightly, especially people who have the love language of words of affirmation. They want to be affirmed all the time. They want you to say positive things about them, compliment them. And so when instead of complimenting them, you say negative things, it can really backfire.
And especially, you know, Chris, you can tell me, why do some African men do this? And that, especially when they're with their friends and stuff like that, they talk down on their wives. You know, sometimes when their friends are there, the way they will try to command their wives and talk down to them, you know, for me, it doesn't show respect. It doesn't show love. You know, what are you trying to prove? And I think that is, you know, that really does affect them, because at the end of the day, when you're speaking that to them, they feel really sad inside. They feel broken inside. So nighttime comes and you want to touch them. They're thinking, why? That's why dutiful sex comes. Like, okay, just do what you want to do and just get off.
There are different sides to it, Adwa. There are people from certain tribes who believe that a man must have masculine predominance. It is part of some cultures that if you're a man, you should predominate. You should have that autocratical tendencies when it comes to running your home. And also
you can predominate in a loving way without making it seem so bossy.
No, but how would people know that they are in charge?
Oh my gosh.
You see, that is the thing. That is the mentality. And there are people too who sometimes I think maybe their wives or spouses tend to come across as the ones who are in charge. Maybe sometimes financially, friends think that, oh, Adwa earns more money than I do, so it means she's in charge. And so when they see friends, they want to, you know, shut you down and do all kinds of things for their friends to know that no, it's not Adwa who is in charge, but I am in charge. I'm the man. I wear the trousers. I call the shots. I am the superhero of the home, and they want to show off. Some people do that. You know, I'm not saying that is cool, but I think that some people do some of these things for these reasons, which might not go down well with your spouse, because like you're saying, especially talking about your spouse or talking down on your spouse in the presence of other people can cause for them to call into their shells. And when that happens, they also in turn will begin to reject you sexually.
And that's not right.
No, not at all.
That's not right. So I think that I'm so glad that we did this topic today, you know, because I think that it is very prevalent in our age and our date right now as we speak, you know, because in the last couple of weeks talking to people and seeing or hearing what they were saying about their relationships, and I thought a lot of people feel like that, you know, and they feel kind of rejected. They don't feel appreciated by their spouses. And like I always say, every human being, man, woman, female, you know, even children, like to be loved, like to be appreciated, and love to be respected. So these three things, you know, are a gift. And believe you me, if you show these three things to your spouse, you will get the best out of them. Criticizing them won't do anything, because one, you're quenching their self-confidence, two, you're quenching their self-esteem, three, you know, you're not having any positive impact on them, and so that wouldn't help.
You can criticize constructively,
yes,
you know, in a way that would not mean that you are demeaning them per se, because then you are trying to make a point. You're trying to get the best out of them. I think that I like feedbacks. I like it when people actually come to you and say what you did wasn't cool.
Yeah.
You know, in a very loving, very, you know, reformative way. That is fine. But where you shout and yell and say all sort of use abusive language, I don't think that is so cool. But you can actually criticize constructively and make sure that you let the person know that I'm not doing this because I'm trying to score points, or I'm not doing this because I hate you, but so that our relationship can only get better.
Whatever you do, women, men, you know, in relationships, whatever you do not insult each other.
No.
It is not good.
Not at all.
You know, cut out the foolish man and cut out the stupid woman and cut out, you know, it is not good, because all these things don't help relationships. And especially if you've got children as well. It's like, what are you teaching them? What path are you taking them? I know that when some people are angry, they can't seem to contain it. So it all kind of
it comes out,
erupts and what have you. But
you know, when we're doing the love languages, there's a part that when you compliment your spouse in the presence of your friends or family, it does a lot to the person.
Yeah.
So in the same manner, when you shut them down or say negative things about them in the presence of your friends or their friends, or the third, actually the word there was a third person,
right? Yeah,
it would also do negative things, just as the compliments would do positive things. It's a very simple mathematical equation.
That's the thing. So why can't we just make things so simple? Why do we always make things so complicated?
Frenemies.
Oh my gosh. Now, Chris, can one reject sex without hurting the relationship?
So much so.
How?
You see, I don't believe that people can give sex every day of the week, 24/7, 7 days a week, 360. It can never be possible.
Yeah.
It will only take, I don't know, even if the couple involved, both man and woman have got extremely sexual drive, there will be a time they will get tired. You understand? Yeah. And so there's no way that you can give sex all the time. Yeah. But I think that when your other half comes to you wanting sex, wanting to make love, whatever you want to call it, and you are not in the mood for the right reasons, for the wrong reasons, you should communicate it in a very loving manner.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can cuddle them and kiss them and say, honey, today, listen to me. I am not in the mood. I am not.
But the thing is, some of them, especially when you cuddle and you kiss,
especially the men,
it's like you are fueling that fire rather than quenching it.
I'm not saying do that intimate kiss. You can just give a lick peck on the lip and say, honey, you know this is all yours, baby. And today, honestly speaking, I am not in the mood. I'm tired. I'm worn out. Can we actually schedule a date? Can we do this tomorrow night? Can we do this in the morning? Can I sleep for 4 hours and let's have it at dawn? You know, you can actually, you know, fix another time. Let the person actually look forward to a promise.
Yeah.
And I think that every reasonable human being in their right senses would think, okay, if you say tomorrow, then yeah, why not? Tomorrow is what? Saturday. So Saturday night, when we put the kids to sleep, I'll be looking forward to it. Then you say, yeah, sure, you have my word. Let me just rest for now. You know? So, and I'm saying this also having at the back of my mind who you are with. You know who you are with. And you know what you can say to that person that would let the person actually feel loved or feel rejected. So you can actually, somebody once said, you can tell two people to jump into the sea and die. One will happily jump and the other person will be very furious. You understand? So it all depends on how you say it. How you communicate it. Communicate it in a very loving manner. Communicate it in a way that would not necessarily mean that you are upset or you don't want to ever do it. This person is you are my enemy and I never want to have sex with you. Sometimes I think that's how some people feel. When you touch them, why are you touching me? Why? Why are you touching me? Why? Who's giving you the right for you?
And that's your spouse.
Exactly. So then the person will immediately think, oh, hold on, what did I do?
Yeah.
All I did was touch you. What's going on? You understand?
Yeah.
So if that person doesn't receive such harsh treatment, but rather you give them that soft, that loving, you can say, honey, today, no, I'm tired. Can't we just spoon and sleep? Because I'm really, really tired. I can't do anything. I don't know about some.
So it's like sugarcoat it, kind of sweet talk
them, and let them. So they will fall asleep peacefully and not disturb you. Maybe.
And do men do that too?
Well,
do men sugarcoat and sweet talk as well?
It's both ways. It's both. But you know what? I think that ladies don't take that lightly.
You see, because I always say that because ladies are full of emotions.
No, but yes, you are full of emotions. All right, yeah?
Yeah.
But the fact that today you've initiated, the fact that you want it, and I am naked, does that mean that I should?
It actually shake our confidence.
Why should it? Because I have told you I'm tired.
We can't handle rejection. we really can't. We are delicate. We are soft. We are like eggs. So rejection is like, we actually come out.
So Adjoa, the fact that your husband is done a 12-hour shift non-stop, this guy is... maybe possibly he even told you, listen, when I was coming home, I was even falling asleep behind the wheel. I am so naked. You offered food. He doesn't want to eat because he's tired, and he takes a shower.
If you give me those signs, I wouldn't even try.
No, but like I said, or even maybe he hasn't given you those signs.
Yeah.
But he comes home and he's naked, he's showered, goes straight into bed, and here you come.
Yeah, but the thing is, once he's showered and I feel that, I can smell that lovely, bubble bath on it, and I kind of want something.
And this guy is naked, he's tired. And what you also...
Is that not true that you men actually, sex de-stress you though?
It does. But there are times when you're so tired that you don't want to do anything. Just sleep. Because don't forget that we contribute a lot of energy when it comes to having sex.
Well, yeah, right.
We do. Because that can also take a lot of virtue out of you.
Yeah, it's okay if you say like you're saying, if you say it in a nice way and say, honey, okay, I promise you,
this is what I'm saying,
this morning, let me sleep for the next 5 hours. In the morning, I'll give you one lovely morning.
But what I'm saying is that would some of these women understand that? Even when you said it in a this is what I'm saying, that women naturally don't like to initiate a lot. They initiate once in a while, some people never.
That's why when we initiate once in a while, you need to grab it with both hands and legs.
Why should it be so? This is what I don't get it. If we are together, why should it be an issue for you to initiate though? Because we are together. We are husband and wife. We know what we are doing. We are partners.
It's all
there's
based
a commitment.
I think it's all based on how the relationship started. I always say that it's what starts that transcends through the whole relationship.
Even if it didn't start that way, and now you are actually husband and wife.
Yeah.
You are living, or you are in a very serious committed relation, long-term relation. You've bought a house together, you're living together, you know this is what you want to do, and you are actually, what are you waiting for? You are you saying that even with all of that, you still can never initiate?
Yeah, I mean that is wrong. Women need to initiate a lot more. I think quite a few women do though.
See? And I always come to our black women.
I know
these things happen a lot within our black communities. Why? I don't know. I don't know whether it's a cultural thing. I don't know whether it's an ego thing. I don't know whether sometimes some people say
I don't think it's ego. I think it's more cultural.
And I think that some women think that when they do these things, their spouses will think they are spoiled.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we are in a different dispensation.
That's the thing.
And I don't get it. I mean, I think that most men like their spouses to
I think it's only because traditionally it's been made to look as if that men are the initiators and women are the recipients.
Even if it is so, once in a while, can't you do that?
Yeah, we can. And we should.
Yes. And when you do it at the wrong time, and I'm tired, I should be able to tell you.
It's that wrong time that
and I'm
yes,
tired.
we should. I agree that we should.
And I'm tired, and I should be able to tell you, honey, that's for today, please. You need to spare me. I am shattered. And so that you shouldn't feel like I have crushed you, and you shouldn't feel like you shouldn't feel, and I think women tend to feel that rejection so much, and they tend to say that, oh, this thing has actually affected my confidence. Come on. No, you said no to us like 1,000 times a week. Our confidence doesn't get crushed
because the person is not used to it, and then of all the days that the person mustered all confidence to come out.
I think that importantly, if you are in a relationship where your spouse has never said it, and for that one time they say it, I'm sure even the tiredness will disappear. I'm sure it will disappear. I'm sure you'll be like
because you'll be surprised.
You go, sorry, excuse me.
You'll be surprised because I hear men also. I know of a situation where this lady is always asking the husband, and the husband is forever
saying no. Yeah, that could be underlining.
Yeah, and the woman. Apparently, there was a point where the woman literally was begging
for it.
Yes.
Wow,
because she's
nice.
like, I'm in a no. She was in tears.
Yeah, I mean that's not for a change.
Yeah, she was, and in fact, just last week when I was away, I was talking to someone, and she was also talking to me about a young lady. She's only been married for 2 years. Only 2 years. And she is saying that out of the 2 years, she doesn't think they've had sex for more than 4 times. Right? This is a baby marriage. 2 years is not long at all.
This is the time where they should be doing morning, afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so the lady was literally in tears. She broke down to this woman at church in tears that every time she tries, the husband
would have some excuse.
Yeah. And to the point now that he comes back from work very late, and then he will sit in the living room for a long time just to make sure that the woman is asleep before,
So then there is a problem. You see, when these things happen.
But what is the problem? Is it possibly because the girl is thinking that maybe the boy is attracted to boys?
That could be an issue. It could definitely be. But he's only gotten married because society, because family, because he doesn't want people to see him in that light.
Yeah.
So this woman needs to find out what is going on. It could be that he doesn't love her. He could be that he's in this relationship because of something.
But if you don't love her, why do you marry her and make her life miserable?
Because of something. There is something there. There is a reason why he got married to her. It could be because of something. So the lady needs to find out. He needs to have that serious conversation with him, because I don't know.
Well, when we come back, we will be talking about, if it's easier for men to handle sexual rejection more than women. And also, do men generally underestimate their partner's sexual interest? So, Chris, be ready. We will be back right soon.
This is ABN Radio.
It's really my type of music.
We play your genre of music.
Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
The Discourse on ABN Radio. Engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio.
This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan station. My name is Uti Wachuku. Keep it locked here.
So welcome back to the bedtalk show with me, Ajua. We are live on ABN Radio, London's premier Afropolitan station. And once again, you can give me a call on the studio lines. Number is 0208 6707 0208 6707 You could also send a WhatsApp message on 0788 7475940. And so, yes, we are talking about sexual rejection and, the impacts that it has on relationships. And we've actually, Kofi and Amma, I still want to say a big thank you for your calls. And if anything else comes up, please, by all means, give us a call. If you're listening and you want to give us a call to make a contribution, by all means, please do. 02086707 So Chris and I have been, discussing and trying to break down why some of these things happen, sexual rejection, why it happens, and how do you deal with it? How do you handle it? So, Chris, is it easier for men to handle sexual rejection more than women?
Like we were saying, I think it's easier because, most of the time, you tend to hear men being rejected, so it's a norm. And I think during one of our programs, I did mention that I read somewhere, in the black settings, sex lasts for 34 minutes.
Yes.
And I was when I saw the caption, it was the big caption was sex lasts for 34 minutes. I was quite excited that people actually are having sex for at least 34 minutes non-stop, considering what Dr. Egan mentioned.
Yes.
So I was like, that's exciting. People are actually doing well. And then I went further to read, and it was like 4 minutes is for 30 minutes is for begging, and then the 4 minutes is for the sex. Or it was 32 minutes. So 2 minutes
something
sex.
Like that.
2 minutes sex, 30 minutes is for begging. So the man has to beg for at least half an hour non-stop before he's actually allowed to have that 2 minutes of pleasure. And more often than not, you tend to see that men are the ones who actually do the initiation. Men go ahead to want to initiate moves, want to initiate sex. So it is quite common to find in majority of the homes that men get rejected quite a lot, because it is the men who actually go to do the asking and the initiating. So that is the thing. So that is why maybe we would say, based on what I've just said, that is why men would sort of take it lightly, because it's a norm. We do the hunting most of the time, so it's kind of a norm for us to have the rejection. But in a situation where women do not do the rejection, once in a while when they ask, it's kind of difficult for them to be rejected. Women tend to feel that because they never or hardly ever ask, then they should never be rejected. But
but some women really ask, I was saying.
But you see, when we look at the percentage of couples, you find out it's only about maybe 10 to 15% of women who would do the initiating, who would do the asking. If I want to cross lines and go into other races, then maybe I would give a bit more. I'll go into like 40%. But when it comes to our black community, unfortunately, you find only 10% or less women.
Okay. Chris, there is a call coming, because I'm going to take that and we will move on. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the bedtalk show. I am Ajwa. Who are you talking?
Hi, my name is Akria.
Oh, hi, Akria. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. Chris, Akria says hello.
Oh, hello. Oh, hello, Akria. Sorry.
Okay. I just want to make a contribution to the program.
By all means, please do.
Okay. So what I want to say is, as Chris was saying, women, we tend not to ask. We just try to let the men do the asking. So when we ask, we don't want to be rejected. That's what it is. So when a man rejects you in that sense, you feel like the man is having something to do with somebody somewhere. So it's quite difficult for a woman to ask. But normally it depends on how the relationship, where the relationship is. I mean, if you are very cordial with your partner and you are very friendly with your partner, it shouldn't be something that you should even ask. It will come naturally.
You're right.
You get what I mean? But then if there's limitation in your relationship, if there's no banter, there's no friendship, then it becomes like an obligation, a duty for the man to perform his marital duties towards the woman or something like that. And if you don't do it, then you presume that you are cheating. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my understanding of the whole thing about rejection. Women don't tend to ask, but if they do, we expect the men to perform their duties, and basically that's it. So that's my contribution towards it.
Thank you so much, Akira. I think I actually, I kind of agree with that. But exactly, you hit the nail right on the head about if you are not asking, or if it doesn't come natural, then there is something wrong in the relationship. Because as couples, there should be some extent of banter, friendship, laughter, and all of that. And sometimes you don't even have to ask. Okay, you might initiate it, you might try and kiss and what have you, but
who kissed first?
I think sometimes too, men or both partners must know when the other partner needs it. Sometimes a woman will just touch you somewhere and you will know that she needs it. She doesn't have to ask. You know what I mean?
That is in a sense initiating.
Yes.
Yes, but I mean, it's not like, like once in a while. No, if you need it, you just touch the person somewhere. You know that this my partner needs it. You don't have to initiate by telling the person whatever. I mean, can we do it? That is just so. How do I call it?
Old school.
It's almost like writing a letter of application to have sex, right?
Like the way you dress up in bed, wear nice lingerie. Your partner the man should know that this woman wants something this night. You get what I mean? It's not that you wear things in bed then you know that my woman wants it. Or when the man touches you in the night when he's sleeping, the way he will touch you, you know that he needs it. You get what I mean? But then before comes the basis of being friends, before these things comes in. Because if you are free in like if you are friends, then these things shouldn't even be a problem. you should even have banter between the two of you about it.
That's right.
Somebody initiating something and somebody asking and somebody rejecting it. You know,
that is so true.
Yeah, being friends in all these things. Friendship before marriage. That's what I always say.
It is very necessary. Yeah. Sadly, I don't think all relationships are like that, which is such a shame.
Yeah. I heard Chris saying that people marry because of something. These days, that's what's going on. I marry because of something. I need something from you. That's why I'm coming to you. You know. So if I get that thing, then what else? There's nothing again for me to be there. And then the marriage starts straining, then the relationship starts straining. You know, what is keeping me there again? I've gotten it. What else?
You're so right.
All right.
Thank you so much, my dear. We are so grateful for your call.
Okay, then.
All right, bye for now.
I think you should get a queer on your program.
I should get a queer right here, don't I? I think we should. Exactly.
You see, Adjoa, I have always been an advocate of good friendship when it comes to relationships and marriages. Because when there is friendship, all these things will not be an issue. If you have good friendship between you and your spouse or you and your partner, initiation, it doesn't matter who. But like she said, I mean, you could just be having a laugh. This person will touch here, that person will touch there, and then you're on your way. Love making is on. And and then also, if the friendship is there, you don't have to worry so much about letting the other know, oh, as for today, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And your friend will understand, because you are friends. It's not frenemy, but friends. You know, you are sweet, you're good.
Yeah.
So if every time we do it anyway, anytime we don't have barriers, we don't have limitations, and today I'm saying I'm tired, then then it means this person is really tired.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And with friendship as well, if the person has any ill feelings about something, they will let you know. They will talk to you about it. They will tell you, I'm not cool with you because of A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
So in that sense, maybe you will try to calm the person down. Some people, you remember, what's his name? Your friend who was on our show the other time.
Who, Justice? Or?
No, the guy. Mo.
Yeah.
You know, Mo talks about actually using that to break the ice.
Yeah.
He thinks that if there's an issue, one good session and you're good.
Sometimes it actually helps, you know.
It does.
Sometimes it actually helps. You need to kind of get over the anger a little bit.
But also, there are people who would never go down that lane, because at that moment they're upset.
Yeah.
Even they'll tell you, no, I'm calm, but I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
No, I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm not worried. Yeah, I've accepted your apology, but I don't want to do it.
I think you need to know who your partner is.
Precisely so. Precisely so.
You need to know who your partner is. Chris, do you think that generally men underestimate, their partner's sexual interest?
I think so. I think it's because
I think you men think that you want sex more than women.
That is what women make us believe. That is what you make us believe. You tend to make us think that we are the only ones who actually are sex driven. And so we are the ones always asking for sex. We are the ones always wanting it. And so women hide behind all kinds of things, and they don't, they will say no. But I've come to realize that even in the act, you tend to enjoy it more than we do. I don't get it. Right from foreplay, a woman can have 2-3 orgasms before the main deal. But so why do you say no from the beginning?
But that's why you shouldn't underestimate our sexual needs. You need to understand that we're human and we've got sexual needs as well.
So tell us. So initiate the moves. So let us know you need it as much as we do.
I guess that maybe if you make us feel much more comfortable, we will be able to express ourselves a lot more.
I think that most good men would like their spouses or partners to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And would like to make sure they are okay. But even that, they still want to play. Or I don't know whether this hard to get thing is a good turn on for you ladies. I don't know whether when you play hard to get it's good for your emotions. I don't honestly don't get it.
I guess that we just want you to want us more.
Okay.
You know,
so you play hard to get a bit, and then
it's just keeping you wanting more. You know, so if you play a little bit hard to get, it makes you want to pursue a bit more. And I think sometimes it's nice.
So I pursue a little bit, and you are still playing hard to get, and I roll around and
don't
I
roll
turn
around
and I sleep.
Don't roll around.
And then I just roll over and I fall asleep. And then meanwhile, you also in need of that touch. You are in need of. Why can't you be real?
So don't roll away and sleep. You keep on pursuing.
Why can't you be real? Listen, if you want it, let's do it. Because you know what? I think that if you are also ready and you put yourself in that exciting mood and you don't play all this hard to get, you have to get somebody to beg. Somebody once said that in some rooms, the lady will actually insist on riding behind the man like a horse before he gets to have sex with his own wife.
No.
Yes, I've heard that story before. You know, where let me ride behind your back like a horse and you ride on your back round the room before, and all sort of gymnastics.
To be honest, I don't think that it's right to beg your spouse for sex.
No.
You know, I mean, especially if we kept ourselves before we got married, and now that we are married, we got married because one of the ultimate thing was to have sex.
Yeah.
You know, because if it was just for companionship, we could have been boyfriend and girlfriend till eternity. But the reason why we got married is so that we have that freedom and license to have sex too.
Yeah.
And so if after, you know, going to the altar and saying I do, you're still depriving each other of sex, then what was the point? That is what I think. I think that whatever it is, none of us, men, women, should withhold sex from their partner. Once in a while, if you are tired or you are not well, or there's a reason, or
a good reason.
A good reason. If you are too upset because he has upset you, and I think
that even shouldn't be.
No, but even sometimes it happens.
I think that you can, even if you're too upset, I think you can talk about it. Or you can
give a person a day or two.
You can give it, and after you can say, listen, I wasn't really in the mood. I wasn't really happy, but I gave it, and I want you to understand that.
But the thing is, not everybody is like that.
Not at all.
So you need to understand who you are with to be able to, you know, work around it. But if you know that your partner is a kind that needs a little bit of space, you know, because he or she is stressed or upset, you need to understand the dynamics of the relationship that you are in. And once you find that out, I think it's easy to roll with it.
Yeah.
But then it is when it becomes too much. It's like there's nothing wrong. There's no reason. You know, a lot of the times, people with young children will use the children as excuse because we are tired and we are tired and we're tired. And it is true. We are tired.
Yeah.
That's why we also ask that you men should help around in the house. Help with some of the house chores as well. Don't leave the washing for us to do it all on our own.
But you don't wash with your hands. You wash with machines.
Oh. You might think that it's very easy.
Yeah.
It is that bending down
and
sorting them out. Sorting the colors and the whites.
And after drying
pushing it in. Drying it one by one on that hanger. It might not be anything. After that, standing on the ironing table, ironing for hours on end.
True. You have a point.
It might not be anything to you, but it is a lot of work.
Of course.
You know,
plus looking after the kids.
Exactly.
And all of that.
you've cooked, utensils are in the sink, you've got to wash them as well, kitchen isn't tidy, you need to clean the floors. It's all those little things, and we need help.
We'll get you dishwashers, we'll get you robotic
to be honest,
hoovers. Would that help?
No, that won't really help, because even with the dishwashers, you still have to, sometimes they don't even wash the things properly. So you still have to do some work with them to do it.
At the end of the day, I think you're right. We should help. It shouldn't be one person's task to do everything in
and the thing is, when we realize that you're helping, even, that alone makes us happy, and we are happy to give whatever you want.
It's not, you see, you ladies make it sound like you are happy to give, but don't forget that you have needs as much as we do.
You're right.
So every time, I think the ladies make it look like we are the only ones who have the need.
No, to be honest, women have the need too, but I think it all depends on libido mismatch and what have you. If you know what I mean.
Not really. I don't know your makeup that well. But.
And then there's some periods where our libidos dip.
Yeah.
Due to hormonal, due to tiredness, due to,
a whole lot, due to the fact that you are upset with us and all of that.
And there's some periods too that our libido, I realize that some women, when they hit their 40s, that's when their libidos go so high up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I need to start looking at the 40-year-olds.
Well, I can tell you that for free. In their 30s, because of maybe they're raising family and everything else, their priorities that were so different. And, when they hit their 40s, things have changed a little bit. Hormones have changed a little bit. Things are much better. Kids are doing things by themselves. And then they realize that now they are starting to feel emotions. So I guess that's the reason why maybe some of these things happen. But I think we've had a wonderful conversation this evening, Chris.
Definitely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's been very successful. I think we've had a very good conversation.
Yeah.
Contributions coming into very good contributions.
So Akua Kofi, thank you so much for your wonderful contributions. We really do appreciate them. Chris, thank you so much.
Pleasure all the time.
It's always amazing to have you, and I think we connect very well.
Yeah, very well.
It's always amazing to have you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Can I just read my sex tip now? Yep. And I call it the shower allure. And so this is what I say. I say that get into the shower with him. Begin with kissing him in the shower and get that sexual action into gear. Work up some lather and sensuously wash each other's bodies. Now kindle your youthful lust by taking a plunge down his thighs and massage his shaft and balls until he is rock hard. Now turn around and bend over as you spread your legs apart and hang on to something sturdy as he takes you from behind in a standing doggy. Now let him pamp away as you enjoy that pool of pleasure it brings. And so, yes, that's so sexy. Chris has his hand on his head.
My head is already.
So that is my sex tip for you for this week. And as always, go give it a go and let me know how it went. So thank you so much for tuning into the Bed Talk Show with me. As always, I am ever so grateful to have your audience and your company. I feel blessed to have you all. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we have a great lineup of programs for you, starting from the Gospel Connect, Weekend City Show, the Hear Me Out Show, down to the sports show in the afternoon. And so make sure that you tune in and listen to these amazing shows that we've got for you. Join me same time next week as we talk about what men want in bed. So please, men, can you spread this? Because we want to know what you want in bed. For now, have a good weekend. Thank you.
From the Sky News Centre at 11. Donald Trump says he will continue to keep the US safe and its borders secure. He's visited families who've had loved ones killed by illegal immigrants. It's after he